aware of it, but I had read in an article not long ago, a couple of years ago, I guess, that there were a group of Marines, male Marines, that had gotten breast cancer, and the Marines denied it, and they basically turned their back on a group of Marines, which they say the Marines never turn their back on fellow Marines. And frankly, to this day, I'm very disappointed with the United States Marines for doing that. But is it often that there are denials, or is most of your practice simply to kind of like speed up the process, or is it kind of a legal boxing match?
No, it's definitely a legal boxing match.
Let's hear all about that.
Yeah.
Let's hear what the Veterans Administration and how they may not be, well, let me put it in a polite way. They're disrespecting it, our veterans,
Well,
in a sense. So let's hear that, and then we'll go with the Brian.
All right. You brought up the two
There's
separate
two
points.
different things, right.
The article
Yeah.
you read about the Marines,
Yeah.
that was
Few
at a
years
Marine.
ago.
Yes, it was at a Marine base where
Right.
where their
They had
water
Agent
was
Orange or
poisoned. Where their water was
Oh, it was
poisoned,
poison
and these
water,
guys had breast cancer.
Right, and some died.
And absolutely, and it was passed on to their children.
Right. I didn't know about the children. That's
Yes.
disgusting.
Yes, it's very disgusting.
It's
Now, this
disgusting.
is not the VA. This is the Marine Corps.
I know.
The commanding
Semper
officers.
Fi.
Yeah,
I
Semper
mean,
Fi.
that's
yeah,
hard to
they
believe.
knew about it.
That's hard to believe.
But it was pretty much covered up until now.
That's wrong.
Now, those Marines who did suffer from cancer have a harder time proving their cancer's related
Right.
to that time,
Okay.
as opposed to if you were in Vietnam
Right.
and now under General Shinseki, who is now the Secretary of Veterans Affairs.
Okay.
There are more diseases that are presumed related to
Okay.
Agent Orange. So they don't have the hurdle of one.
They don't have the same kind of.
Right, because one, you have to
Right.
prove exposure,
Okay.
all right, which can be, something that happened 20, 30 years ago. It's very
Exactly.
hard to prove. So the Vietnam vet doesn't have to prove
Right, so at least they have
actual
that part.
exposure. Right. And now it is presumed that if they have any one of these enumerated diseases, that it was caused by the exposure to the herbicide.
Right.
Okay. Those Marines, though, have a tougher road because nothing is presumed in their
So
cases.
what would you, okay, I'm cheating. You know what? I'm going to have to wait till it's my turn again.
All right.
Because, hold on, Brian, don't interrupt, please.
Sorry.
But I'm going to come back, keep this in your mind. Because what I want to do is, I don't know if Brian or Annette want to pick up on this, but I want to get to how might you or another attorney be able to assist these Marines. And before we even get to Brian, for the record, I would like to say this to the entire United States Marine Corps. I'm very disappointed. You've always been my favorite branch of the service. Sorry that you were in the Army. I mean, not sorry that you were in the Army, but
Yeah,
I'm sorry
right.
that that's my favorite. But the Marines, you have always been my favorite. But United States Marine Corps, what you have done to this group of Marines is appalling. And I will not drop this ever until you do what's right. That's a promise. Now, we will go to our friend Brian
All right.
Hatchalakis.
All right. I have a question for you. Jim, do you think once Social Security runs out, what will happen to veterans' benefits? Because they're saying, I'm reading reports where they're saying that Social Security will be running out in 2016.
I would think that would be different, wouldn't it?
Well,
Those are two different things, isn't it?
Well, the funding is different.
Different.
I do not believe, though, because I do Social Security disability work
Right.
as well. The Social Security, in fact, is solid until something like 2045.
Well, no, I'm saying now 2033.
Okay,
I just
2030.
learned that, but
all
I'm
right,
good.
2033, not 2016.
Right.
I've been
And-
reading a rumor. I'm just telling you this is what I heard on a financial talk show last week.
Okay,
Yeah.
I would say I would not necessarily
Now,
believe
Medicaid,
that.
Medicaid, though,
Right.
is a different story. Funding for that is precarious. It's harder to project what the necessary funding levels are. But its impact on veterans' benefits, it's really none. It's a completely separate budgeted item. The Veterans Administration has been fully funded.
Okay.
There's a lot of vacancies. And here's something you might find interesting.
I'm
Albert.
listening. I may be looking here, everybody, but I'm listening.
Yeah.
I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything, but go ahead.
There are veterans dying,
Okay.
committing suicide because
Right.
of their PTSD, and they cannot get help.
Right.
Now, Senator Patty Murray is the chair of the Senate Committee
Okay.
on Veterans Affairs, and
Right.
she held hearings last year and exposed this. Said that the wait times for a veteran that from the time they say they need help till they actually get a
help.
first appointment
It's too long.
is
Too
way
great.
too long.
Right.
Now, supposedly it's cut down to 14 days. Well, she recently had a hearing like a week ago.
All right.
And when the VA put out their new guidelines and says, here's what here's veterans hospitals, what you have to do when a veteran comes in and says they need mental health therapy. The first thing that upper management did was sit down and try to figure out how they can meet their numbers, how they can game the system.
Mm-hmm.
All right, not treat the veteran,
Right.
just so their numbers look good on papers, because the executive service within the VA, they are eligible for bonuses. And in order to get their bonuses,
They have to meet their
they
criteria.
have to meet their criteria,
So
these
it's all
numbers.
about essentially the money.
Right, and I don't know why they need bonuses to do their job. That really bugs me.
I will say, I'm glad you brought that up. I didn't know that, but I want more
Well,
information
this is
on
Humanity
that.
Matters.
Well, I
and
can
and
tell
I think
you,
that that's really
I can tell you, I need more information on that. For those of you who don't want to do the job, unless you get bonuses, I'm going to give you a bonus. I'm going to dedicate a future episode to whooping your butt. That's my bonus. I'm going to give you one. You may not get some money. The show may be a little funny.
Exactly.
But you're going to be one sorry sucker, sonny.
Exactly.
I'm going to come back and kick some potatoes for that.
all right. Well,
no, that's
just
wrong.
Keep that
Well,
in
let
mind.
me just say this. I know I was not really threatening, but I'm serious. I'm going to expose them on that. However,
I'll give you some information.
let me just say this. When you deny a veteran or cause a veteran to die as a result, you are worse than the so-called snake in the Garden of Eden. You're worse than what we would call Satan, because you are denying a person who essentially fought and was willing to die to save your family or people that were around before you were born. So when you just said that, that makes me want to I'm a humanitarian, but I'm humanitarian light. That just makes me want to, let's just say, open up about 5 universes of whoop butt. But we'll leave it at that. I'm going to keep it professional. I'm not happy, especially when you're talking about veterans who've died simply because they did not get the treatment they needed. Now, I want to throw one interjection because we got to get to Annette and get her question in. But I personally met a gentleman who is homeless. His name is Tim, and he's a homeless U.S. veteran. First of all, that makes me sick. There should not be one homeless veteran.
There's about 250,000 of
That's
them.
disgusting. And he told me one of the reasons why he was homeless was PTSD, trust issues, and feeling like imprisoned. And he would rather be on the street risking getting killed than to be putting up with the garbage and the mistreatment. We need... Hi, everyone. I'm Albert Torcaso. By now, you're probably getting a little bit ticked off that I'm talking about these ads on humanitymatters.org. You're probably thinking, my goodness, Al, we don't come to you to buy stuff. We come for the information, the entertainment, the excitement, and the inspiration. And that's all good. And I want you to keep doing that. But let me ask you a simple question. Why shouldn't you get a great bargain? And why shouldn't I benefit, get an income hopefully from it, at least something, and keep bringing this quality entertainment, and in fact being able to afford eventually better equipment and get better at what I do, and in fact become much more professional, do things in segments. Well, all that takes equipment, which takes money. So I figured the best way to get what I need to survive, thrive, and improve the show is to bring bargains to you. Now you might think, well, Al, you told us a little bit about this and that already. That's true. But what I didn't tell you is this. I neglected to tell you that I usually have special limited time links. Now, that might be a Kmart sale that lasts for literally 1 week. You might think, well, that's no big deal. They do that everywhere. That's true. But on my site, you can get a bargain during this 1 week sale, whatever it is, and you can get up to 70% off. Now, let me give you an idea of what that means. That would be the equivalent of, let's say you go to the actual brick and mortar store, Kmart, and you decide to buy a 56-inch or 60-inch television. If you see it on my site, and it says something to the effect, 60-inch television, if it's up to 70% off, here's what it means. It means that if it's $500, okay, let's say $1,000. I don't know what they are. Maybe say, okay, we'll make it hard. $2,000 in the store. Well, if it's 50% off that, then that means it's down to $1,000 for you. That's saving you literally $1,000. Now, if it's up to 70% off, obviously we're talking about $1,100 to $1,300. Now, is that a big enough bargain for you? And that's my point. A lot of these links that I'm talking about are exclusive bargains. You can't even get them at the store. And sometimes you can't even get them at the store's main website. And that's because companies want the affiliate marketers, such as myself, to get special exclusive bonuses so that you then will come to my site and say, you know, I'm going to do this. So that's what I'm telling you. Save yourself some money. Get yourself some good bargains.